in that area, so that because if there's light, maybe they will be afraid to go in there to go and vandalize the transformer. Then the government too, in a nutshell, many youths say if somebody is idle, he can do other things supposed not to do. They can give jobs to youths. If they give job to youths, the area of thieves and all, I think it will come down. You cannot finish. You cannot just stop it, but it will be minimized.
Transformer vandalism in Benin metropolis is no longer an isolated occurrence, but a widespread challenge. Concerned residents are urging the government to take decisive action to curb the growing menace. Favor Kolawole reporting for BeeTv News.
As schools resume for the new academic session, the Directorate of Education Quality Assurance, led by its Director General Dr. Ame Ogbemudia, embarked on a 3-day safe school monitoring exercise across Edo State. The exercise highlights government resolve to ensure that schools remain secure, conducive and up to standard for both teaching and learning. BeeTv News Favor Kolawole reports that across schools visited, lessons had already commenced, teachers were on ground, and classrooms were organized to meet both academic and safety requirements. The report is presented by Best Orator.
At each of the schools visited, principals welcomed Dr. Ame Ogbemudia and her team, conducting them around facilities including classrooms, laboratories, and security arrangements. The inspection paid particular attention to safety measures, infrastructure, and the overall learning environment.
That's the picture of the school. This is that's my...
One of the major highlights was the inspection of the newly renovated Evaike Secondary School, rebuilt by the Governor Monday Okpebholo administration to provide a safe and conducive learning atmosphere. Other schools visited include Edo Boys College, Army Days Secondary School, Ezomo College, and Egwe Daiken Grammar School also demonstrated full readiness for the new term.
We just put them here for now because we have enough seats in the
The Directorate of Education Quality Assurance also visited Use Secondary School in Ego Local Government Area, Edo National College, Igobazuwa, Ovia Southwest Local Government Area, Ore Nolomi Secondary School, Ego Senior Secondary School, Aduawa Secondary School, Urora Secondary School, both in Ikoboha Local Government Area, Egba Grammar School, and Enyan Secondary School in Uhunde Local Government Area, and many others to monitor safety measures, infrastructure, and the overall learning environment. Principals and teachers interviewed expressed gratitude to Governor Monday Okpebholo for strengthening school infrastructure and security, also emphasizing school readiness for a safe learning environment for students. Students also pledged commitment to discipline and hard work, noting that the improved facilities and safe environment would inspire better performance in productivity. They commended the Director General of the Directorate of Education Quality Assurance, Dr. Ame Ogbemudia, for carrying out on-the-spot assessment.
It's a beautiful day because the children they responded coming to school this morning for lessons, and it's been, as soon as they started coming in, I welcomed them and they were very happy because I had to give them a hug for them to start. And we had our assembly. It was well taken care of, and you can see when you came in, you saw the children learning.
We had a very good turnout of students today. A lot of them came to school. You can see they are all in classes. The teachers have been going to classes. I have even gone to SS3. I have SS2 again before the close of the day. They are fine. They are doing very great.
The environment is clean. The classes are there, well prepared. The students are here, but we have a good number of students in school.
The innovation that was carried out during the past administration and the present system, the present governor is building on it, and it's creating an enabling environment for the children to learn.
The system is going on where everything is going. The students are prepared. Many of them turn up. The SS2 and 3 they turn up. So we are waiting for the SS1, the coming in new ones. We are waiting for. Those are the only classes that have not actually turned up for admission. But with SS2, the old students, they turn up very well.
Lessons have commenced, so I'm currently going to my class now to receive my fourth lecture. So I'm super ready because I already gotten my notes. I bought my new bag, so I'm super prepared.
The Directorate of Education Quality Assurance team also visited the Ediginuse Palace to appreciate his support and seek further collaboration in safeguarding school facilities within the community.
So I said now with ma ise manula abe èmi kérékéré náà Jésù nù ní ya do mi vi ọba rí mo va be window mo be go ma go community ko yen we community o abi ya usa ne gbe ma ko ni awa ge de amone inu kioma no okay stop
because we are surviving the session here with Bolo. I think they shared about 6 classrooms to 2.
Yes, sir.
The GSS with 3 classrooms.
Yes,
SS with 3 classrooms. Looking at that structure is not befitting for them again. In fact, I see already a class of mine to.
Yes. Dr. Ame Ogbemudia also addressed students directly, reminding them that discipline, focus, and safety awareness are key to making the most of the environment provided. She also emphasized that safe school monitoring is critical to sustaining standards, ensuring accountability, and guaranteeing that every child learns in a secure and enabling environment. Best Orator reporting for BeeTv News.
The Kebbi State government has denounced what it calls a continued campaign of slander and blackmail by opposition parties, asserting that Governor Nasai Idris' administrations remains committed to advancing development for the people. Addressing newsmen in Birnin, Kebbi, the Commissioner for Information and Culture, Yakubu Ahmed, said the actions of the opposition reflect desperation and deliberate mischief aimed at discrediting the government. He noted that recent pictures and videos of dilapidated infrastructure circulating on social media were being misrepresented as current failing of the administration. According to him, many of the structures being showcased were inherited from previous governments and already receiving attention under ongoing rehabilitation and reconstruction efforts. He stressed that the governor remains resolute and will not be distracted by mudslinging, blackmail, and will from social media blackmailers. The Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Mohammed Pate, emphasized that Africans must move away from the mindset that malaria is someone else's problem and take full responsibility for leading the fight against the disease. Speaking today at the 2025 The Big Push on Malaria meeting held in Abuja with the theme Harnessing Africans' Role in the Big Push Against Malaria. Professor Pate stressed that 90% of the global malaria burden is on the continent and urged African nations to lead efforts to end the disease. He explained that while support from development partners such as the UK, the US, the Global Fund and others remain vital.
Nigeria's rising debt and its impact on West Africa's stability has again come under the spotlight. Director General of the Debt Management Office, Patience Oniha, noted that the region's public debt has ballooned in the last decade, worsened by the COVID-19 pandemic, while debt service now takes a significant share of revenues. She listed Nigeria, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, and Senegal as the top.
It is a defining moment.
The Inspector General of Police has directed Border Patrol commanders to step up efforts in strengthening security by cracking down on human trafficking, drug cartel, arms smuggling, and other illegal activities across Nigeria's border. Kayode Egbetukun emphasized that border protection goes beyond merely increasing personal presence. It also requires robust intelligence gathering and the use of modern border management technologies.
It is a defining moment for commanders in charge of border patrols within the Nigerian police force. Summoned by the Inspector General of Police, they are here to re-strategize on the management of Nigerians' porous borders. He is concerned about unchecked flow of people, goods and weapons across the country's boundaries.
We have seen contraband goods smuggled in, crippling our local industries. We have seen vulnerable women and children deceived and trafficked across borders. We have confronted terrorists and criminal syndicates who take advantage of these weaknesses to infiltrate and destabilize our communities. These are not abstract threats. They are the challenges we face daily. When you stop a truck carrying hidden rifles, you prevent bloodshed. When you intercept human traffickers, you restore dignity to a life. When you stand firm at a border post, you defend not just territory, but the very identity of our country, Nigeria.
Nigeria shares land borders with 4 countries: Niger Republic to the north, Chad to the northeast, Cameroon to the east, and Benin Republic to the west.
That's why we must embrace technology, surveillance systems, drones, biometric scanners, real-time data analysis. These are not luxuries, they are necessities, and we will continue to fight for them until every officer on the front line is equipped to match the sophistication of those we face.
As the police intensify border enforcement, a crucial question arises: how will they earn the trust of border communities, a key factor in effective intelligence gathering? Soher Oseveki, reporting for BeeTv News.
The Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, has reported tracking 1,440 projects across the Northwest and Northeast regions with a total value of approximately 275 billion naira over the past 2 years. According to Chairman of the Commission, Musa Adamu, 767 of the projects were in the Northwest worth 112 billion naira, while 673 projects in the Northeast accounted for 158 billion naira. The Commission said cash recoveries in the Northwest stood at 7 billion naira, while 43 million naira were recovered in the Northeast, alongside $1 million in foreign currency recovered in the Northwest. In addition, 14 buildings, 25 plots of land, and 3 farmlands were seized in the Northwest zone during the period under review.
At 271 billion 0.44 in these zones. 767 projects valued at 112 billion 112.737 billion were in the Northwest, and 673 projects valued at 158 billion were in the Northwest. But the real story in the project tracking is citizens and journalists who flag abandoned projects made these interventions possible, ensuring resources reach the intended beneficiaries. Our cash recoveries total in this zone 7.269 billion in the Northwest, while in the Northeast we recover 43.335 million, with total of $1.066 million recovered in the Northwest.
Reading from the business news, Dangote Petroleum Refinery has clarified that employee membership in trade unions is voluntary and not compulsory in accordance with the Nigerian Constitution and International Labour Organization (ILO) conventions. Legend BeeTv News as Sohe Osewingi for details and more from the business world.
This statement was issued in response to claims by the Nigerian Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers alleging union suppression and forced agreement restricting union participation. Dangote Petroleum Refinery denied these claims, stating that employees retain full freedom to join any legally recognized trade union. The company also expressed support for ongoing mediation effort by the Ministry of Labour and called for respect for the dialogue process. Allegations of creating a monopoly where the dismissed, with the company reaffirming its commitment to investing in Nigeria's economic development. Nigeria's electricity sector is facing a critical threat of nationwide blackouts following a reduction in gas supply to power generation companies due to an accumulated debt of 5.6 trillion naira. The Association of Power Generation Companies confirmed that gas suppliers have started cutting supply as a result of the unpaid debts. Power generation has dropped significantly, with only partial recovery reaching approximately 4,000 megawatts, while several power plants remain below operational capacity. Stakeholders warn that without urgent action, the country could face severe power outages with widespread economic and social consequences. The federal government has announced that implementation of the 2025 national budget will commence by the end of September 2025 as the execution of the 2024 fiscal plan concludes. The 54.99 trillion 2025 budget, tagged the Budget of Restoration, is designed to stimulate economic growth, enhance public services, and attract investment in key sectors. The Director General of the Budget Office of the Federation confirmed the timeline during a stakeholders forum in Abuja. The 2025 budget allocates 14.3 trillion to debt servicing, reflecting the continued pressure from the country's high debt profile. Other initiatives under the budget include war-based development programs across 8,809 political wards and international partnerships such as a 30.9 million Nigerian-Japan startup initiative. The recurrent expenditure component of the 2025 budget has already commenced, with salaries and debt obligations being met. The federal government has officially removed the 5% excise duty on telecommunication services, including voice calls and data subscriptions. The tax, introduced in 2022, had applied to telecom services and was part of effort to boost non-oil revenue. It faced opposition from telecom operators and consumer groups due to its impact on service costs and access. The removal was announced by the Nigerian Communication Commission and followed a directive from President Bola Tinubu during deliberations on the Finance Act. The decision is aimed at reducing cost pressures on consumers and supporting digital sector growth. The telecommunications sector plays a key role in Nigeria's economic development, contributing to digital transformation, financial services, and e-commerce. The removal of the tax is part of measures to ensure affordability and accessibility of telecom services across the country. And that is the close of the business news segment for tonight. I am Sohe Osevegi, reporting for BeeTv News.
Let's look at what's happening around the globe now. Former Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro has been sentenced by the Supreme Court to 27 years behind bars for attempting to stage a military coup after his loss in the 2022 election. Also, Prince Harry vows to help war injured during surprise visits to Ukraine. BeeTv News correspondent Harmony Agbafo has more on this and more from the global scenes.
Brazil's Supreme Court has sentenced former President Jair Bolsonaro to 27 years in prison for plotting a military coup after losing the 2022 election. Found guilty of leading a conspiracy to stay in power, he was also barred from office until 2033. Bolsonaro, under house arrest, plans to appeal, but legal experts say chances are slim. The ruling has divided opinion, with U.S. figures like Donald Trump condemning it, while Brazilian justices warned his actions nearly returned the country to dictatorship. Prince Harry has made an unannounced trip to Kiev at the invitation of Superhumans, an organization that supports Ukrainians injured in the war. He said his goal was to do everything possible to aid recovery for wounded soldiers and civilians, stressing the need to humanize those affected. The visit, which follows his earlier trip to rehabilitation center in Lviv, includes plans to expand support through his Invictus Games Foundation. His Archwell Foundation recently donated $500,000 to projects helping injured children in Ukraine and Gaza. Other members of the royal family have also shown support for Ukraine, with King Charles meeting President Zelensky earlier this year and Prince William visiting refugees. A South African court has dismissed an attempt by convicted rapist and murderer Thabo Bester and his partner Dr. Nandifa Magudumana to stop Netflix from releasing a documentary about his crimes and prison escape. Their lawyers argued Beauty and the Bester was defamatory and threatened their rights to a fair trial, but a judge ruled the case was not urgent and said they could still sue for defamation later. Bester, known as the Facebook rapist, allegedly faked his death in a 2022 prison fire and lived under an alias with Magudumana until their arrest in Tanzania in 2023. Both remain in custody facing multiple charges while the documentary is set for release. Burkina Faso has introduced visa-free entry for all African travelers to promote integration, tourism, and Pan-African solidarity, though visitors must still complete an online application. The policy, announced under military leader Captain Ibrahim Traoré, follows similar moves by Ghana, Rwanda, and Kenya. Traoré, admired for his Pan-African stance but criticized for authoritarian rule and worsening insecurity, leads a country where militants control about 40% of territory. The move comes as Burkina Faso, alongside Mali and Niger, distances itself from ECOWAS and strengthens ties with Russia. And that is all from the global scenes. Harmony Agbafo reporting for BeeTv News.
And lastly, on today's bulletin, celebrity chef Hilda Bassi has officially launched her attempt to break the Guinness World Record for cooking the world's largest pot of jollof rice. The event is taking place at a venue in Lagos and combines culinary excellence with community engagement and charity. Also, Janet Hubert confirms reconciliation with Will Smith after 30-year feud. Legend BeeTv News got gifts on money for details and more from the entertainment world.
The cooking process began with prayers led by Hilda's mother. The pot used for the challenge has a capacity of 22,619 liters and measures approximately 6 meters in diameter. It is designed to hold enough rice to feed around 10,000 people. The project will utilize 250 bags of rice, with the aim of filling the pot to about 80% of its full capacity. Once the cooking is complete, the food will be distributed to event attendees and donated to charitable organizations. This marks Hilda Bassi's second Guinness World Record attempt, following her 2023 recognition for the longest cooking marathon. Queen Akere Dulu has accused Tayo Adeyemi, wife of entertainer Idowu Adeyemi, popularly known as Yemoli, along with her associates, of physical assault and robbery. The incident reportedly took place during a meeting initiated by Tayo. According to Akere Dulu, she had previously worked professionally with Tayo and was invited to a meeting under the pretext of discussing a project. Upon arrival, she alleges she was ambushed and attacked by Tayo, her sister, and friends. During the assault, she reportedly sustained physical injuries and lost personal items, including 2 mobile phones, clothing, and accessories. Akere Dulu denied any romantic involvement with Yemoli and stated that her communication with the couple was strictly business-related. She has called on the media to refrain from circulating false narratives about her involvement in the matter. Tayo was reportedly detained briefly by police following the incident. Yemoli and Tayo were married in 2024 and have 1 child. September 12, 2025 marks 2 years since the death of Nigerian musician Ire Oluwa Aloba, professionally known as Mohbad. His body remains unburied following his exhumation for autopsy and continued investigation. Mohbad died on September 12, 2023 after reportedly receiving injections including tetanus toxoid, paracetamol, and an antibiotic administered by an auxiliary nurse. He later experienced convulsions and vomiting before being taken to Perez Medcare Hospital, where he was confirmed dead on arrival. Since the autopsy was conducted, no final reburial has taken place, with reports indicating that his remains are still being held pending further forensic and legal procedures. Tributes continue to pour in from fans globally, marking the anniversary of his death and reflecting on his musical legacy. Actress Janet Hubert has confirmed that her decades-long feud with actor Will Smith has officially ended. The feud began in the early 1990s, following her departure from the television series The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, where she originally played the character of Aunt Viv. During a recent appearance on an Atlanta radio station, Hubert recalled that the conflict had intensified after comments made by Smith at the same station nearly 30 years ago. Over the years, the dispute drew public attention, including accusations and counterclaims from both parties. The reconciliation process began publicly in 2020 during the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air reunion special on HBO Max. Since then, Obert has confirmed that her relationship with Smith has improved, with him supporting her recent independent animation project through promotional assistance and technical support. This marks the formal conclusion of a long-standing public dispute between the two former co-stars. And that is it from the entertainment world. Goskift Omone reporting for BeeTv News.
And that's all for tonight. Many thanks for joining us on BeeTv Major News. I remain Evelyn Izibili. Thank you and have a good night.